What's up, everybody? I hope you are having an incredible day, and I am very excited to be hanging out with the one, the only Willie Newman, ladies and gentlemen. He is absolutely one of the guys in the industry that has been a new friend and acquaintance to us, but absolutely one of the leaders and influencers in the entire industry. Willie's been doing this a long time, and we're so excited that he has come to hang out with us this afternoon on the Shred Effect. Willie, afternoon, sir.
Thanks, Josh. I hope I live up to that introduction, so I'll do my best.
You always do, and like I was saying, you and I, we met recently at an event. I've heard about you for so many years, known about your career and everything you've done. But what was really cool, and I want to talk about this before we get into anything, Willie. What was awesome is you had no idea who I was when we first met. You kind of heard about me, but you truly went out of your way to say hello, to meet me. And that's something that stood out to me, Willie. I could just tell that you're one of those guys in the industry that it doesn't matter if it's an LO sending you guys a couple of deals or another executive. You truly go out of your way to get to know people. It's a relationship game. And I found that with you in particular, relationships mean a lot.
Yeah, they absolutely do. And, I appreciate you recognizing that. I don't know when I started that exactly. I think when I was younger, I maybe wasn't quite as friendly or embracing, but I really kind of, expanded or evolved my philosophy. And I just think it's really interesting meeting different people and understanding, their perspectives, their motivations. And I think, I like you referenced, I've been in the business for a while, and I'm your elders for both you and Jason, but you can learn something new every day, and that's kind of how I try to approach things.
You absolutely can learn something new every day, and I think we have to. I talked about that on my quick live this morning that I do on my own page. Is that you constantly have to be learning. You can't sit back in this industry, and especially now that guidelines are changing, the industry is changing constantly, and that's something that you and All of Home Point has continued to do is really stay ahead of that game. Which kind of leads perfectly into talking about our topic today, which is creating customers for life and having a partner that really has your back. And at Home Point, that's something you guys really do have the back of the originator.
Yeah, well, thanks. We feel like in order for us to build our business and grow our business, and we are focused on scale. So we think it's really important the way the industry is going to be a scale player. And in order to do that, we rely on third parties to get customers in the door. And we think the best way to continue to expand the relationship with those customers is to link the third parties with them and us in a way that's different and unique. So that's what we focus on every day. And we feel like that's the best opportunity for us to evolve and as the business evolves.
So let's talk about evolution, because there's a lot of evolving going on in the industry. There's a lot of companies that are changing, that are adapting. What are some of the ways in particular that Home Point has continued to evolve and stay up with change?
Right. So we look at, I know this is kind of sounds a little odd, especially because everyone really talks probably much more often about originations than they do about servicing. But for our model and for where we think the business is going, Josh, we feel like servicing is really the key to the business. And the actual function of servicing, of collecting payments and remitting those payments to investors, et cetera. It doesn't sound very, sexy or cool, but what is very cool and we think is a great opportunity is there's a level of connectivity to the customer that you really don't have anywhere else in the mortgage value chain. Now, historically, that connection has not really been leveraged significantly beyond, again, the traditional functionality of servicing, but we feel like a combination of being innovative in how we think about that the connectivity in that relationship, where technology is going, both from a data standpoint as well as from a functionality perspective, as well as where the industry is going specifically on mortgage transactions with regard to both how mortgage transactions are executed on and how data can be leveraged. We feel like all of that results in an opportunity for us to greatly expand the bandwidth that we have with our customers.
Customer for life. So when it comes to the customer for life, this is something that we talked about with Phil a while back, but this program that you kind of been touching on the pieces of it. But this is really cool for me because this plays into the customer that we're talking about. This really plays into having the back of the originator. So share with me for just a sec. I mean, how did the customer for life, how did that come to be? Why are you guys so excited about it? You guys have talked, I mean, there was a recent article about it, a couple recent articles. So why is that so important to you guys right now?
Right. So, actually, you can kind of look back in a strange sort of way to the beginning of Brawl and eventually of AIM. And, we had to come to kind of an understanding, or maybe it was the self-actualization, that people talk about a servicer and an originator and the inherent conflict between what a servicer wants to do with the customer and what an originator wants to do with the customer. And again, historically, there's been either conflict or a lack of understanding or agreement or alignment, for that matter. And ultimately, we looked at our business, and as you know, our business, as far as new customers go, is entirely driven by third parties. Yep. And the fact of the matter is, the consumers that come through those third parties have no idea who we are when they close the line. They didn't pick us. They don't know us. And the first opportunity they have to meet us is basically when we send them a statement that says, hey, by the way, we're going to start taking money from you now. and so once you come to that realization and say, who are we to say, okay, now we're going to take that customer and we're going to turn them into something that doesn't involve that third party anymore. That didn't make any sense to us. And furthermore, that's how the rest of the industry, or much of the rest of the industry, has operated for years. So we felt like instead of making it an adversarial or a kind of a win-lose relationship, there really was an opportunity for us to, one, expand the relationship with those customers in a way that would get them to get to know us better and to start to trust us, and two, give us information that we could share with our third-party partners in a way that on that next mortgage transaction, we could leverage the relationship with the consumer and the relationship with our third-party partners in a way that would ensure that we collectively keep that customer in our ecosystem. So, but for us, we had to come to the realization, or like I said, reflection, that this customer really doesn't know us. And furthermore, our third-party partners are really the most important driver of new customers to us. And as a matter of fact, they're our only driver. So how can we put all that together in a way that's new, innovative, but ultimately is in the best interest of both the third-party partner, the customer, and then ultimately us as well?
Well, I think that is, you mentioned innovation, and I think innovation is a big part of where the industry is going. It's those thought leaders, it's those companies that are willing to be different, to stand out. And I totally agree with you. And this is something we talked about with Philly before. Servicing is not sexy in any way, shape, or form, but it's something that not only as originators and especially consumers, as customers, we just don't understand. So being able to be educated and understanding that piece of it even more, I think it just gives us, again, when it goes back to us as originators, we need to be educated. We need to be educating our customers. And again, being that you are providing this service and helping with that side of it for the third party, for us as originators, that's just something that, again, these are the type of moves. We're seeing all these companies come out with technology and the latest and greatest, but this is something that, I'm not saying there's not technology behind it, but it's a fairly simple move that is having a huge impact.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, and if you think about it, like you said, there's nothing sexy about servicing. And by the way, this pipeline has been in place, from time immemorial. People have been making payments to their servicers, yep. and especially in the last 20, 25 years through electronic means for the last 20, 25 years. But it really has never been leveraged in a way that expands the relationship in the consumer. And again, not in as much in a product push way. I think you do see servicers out there who like to throw product at the customers in their service portfolio. Really what we're trying to do is establish a dialogue. And that does mean that there will be product involved, because the fact of the matter is, absent rate declines like we've seen in the last couple of months, mortgage is a very infrequent transaction. It's a 5 to 7 year life cycle. And how do you keep in front of a customer for that period of time, especially one that, again, doesn't really know you? You have to be able to build a pipeline of information, product, services, et cetera, that gets them to start delivering you information, widens that pipeline, and develops a two-way dialogue between you and the customer. And once you do that, and I'll give you a couple of product examples, but once you do that, you really start to build what we call, a level of trust with that customer that says, hey, third-party partners involved, the servicer or us as a lender and servicers involved, the customers involved. Ultimately, we can make that more of a lifetime relationship.
And you mentioned a couple of products. I know you guys have one coming out here really quickly. That's going to be just one more benefit. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Sure. So we've partnered with an insurance company called Hippo, and Hippo is a very innovative company, and I think it's important to say that. I'll talk about the product, but really what we're more focused on, frankly, is the experience and the benefit.
Nice.
So Hippo offers homeowners insurance, and they do it in a way that ultimately can be one click to the consumer. So literally, you as a consumer don't have to go through the 75 field process of applying for homeowners insurance. And us as a servicer we have all the information on the current homeowners policy for our customers. So that combination, leveraging Hippo's innovation, the use of data to provide that one-click type of experience, coupled with our knowledge about the customer's insurance, results in an offering to certain of our customers that we can provide, one, with absolute certainty, two, that we absolutely know provides a benefit, and three, that they will see value in. And we call it speed, value, certainty. At the end of the day, to us, that equals trust.
And when it comes down to it, I mean, that's what we're talking about is trust. Like you said, the mortgage transaction is a relatively short process when it comes to getting a mortgage, and typically a 30-year mortgage, to say the least. Like you said, most people don't refinance or get another mortgage for 5 to 7 years. So that 30-day window or 60 days or whatever, most are less than 30 days. You have a very short time frame to build that trust. So
right.
These type of, like I said, these relationships, these partnerships, if you will, where you're able to create that experience, and I think that's a big part of it, is that experience that you're going through with the customer, the consumer. That's ultimately helping create that trust, helping create that bond. Because again, you want to be there top of mind when 5-7 years comes around. No
question. And as I mentioned, we're much more focused on the experience and building trust than we are as, it's one more product that we sold to the customer. It really is about the experience, because ultimately the ultimate goal is to retain the next mortgage, which frankly is far more important than any other individual product that they may take on. And so in addition to products, we will also offer information about how you can become the most efficient homeowner possible. So, as an example, utility information about home improvement, will it add value to your home, et cetera. So it'll evolve over time. But ultimately, we want to create that two-way dialogue, product being part of it, data being part of it, such that we widen that pipeline of information that goes back and forth between us and the customer, ultimately building trust and building customers for life.
So let's talk about data for a second, because I think that's one of the biggest discussions in the industry right now is there's all these data aggregators out there that are really trying to literally just capture as much data as possible. You have your big companies, your Zillows, your Redfins, companies like that are literally just trying to grab as much data as possible, your Rocket Mortgages. And the client or the customer experience is definitely, it's something that's being attacked. What are your thoughts on the future of the industry and the relevancy that the mortgage advisor, the mortgage professional will play?
Well, I think that I guess I look at it a little bit, I don't know, maybe not in favor. I look at what's happened over the last couple of years with regard to, as an example, data privacy. And yet, as you mentioned, Josh, you have all these aggregators out there scooping up information about you, about Jason, about me. And I never asked them to do that.
Yeah.
but they're doing it, right? And so there may be folks that see value in that, but I look at it, I think over time, the trust factor becomes more and more important. So, there may be providers out there who collect information and can, generate a good offer, I guess, for a customer, whatever the product may be. But would they rather do business with that person who kind of snuck up on them from behind, or would they rather do business with somebody who's created a dialogue where they're giving information based on value that they see in providing it, not in someone kind of sneaking up on them from behind. So I guess I look at it, I don't know if that's different, but I really feel like over the next couple of years, it will evolve to the point where people really should own their data, and they should be able to share it in a way where they, in instances where they see value, as opposed to all these people out there who collect it and then they try to sell it. And, really at the end of the day, what does the customer have to do with it? I would hope that they would see the value in the exchange that we provide, as opposed to something that comes from the outside.
And I think that's true. And you don't really see a lot of, business owners actually talk to it that way. So that's to your credit. That's awesome, because, Josh and I were just talking about this the other day, that, with Zillow and a lot of these, they really exist to take consumers' data and sell it. And I'm not saying that they're doing it in a bad way. It's just the fact that it is their data. They exist because they're selling your data. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. And to have a different opinion and vision when it comes to consumers' data and protecting that and treating that as the value that we should be, especially in our industry, is important. But I just really wanted to jump in here just real quick to say, a broker friend of mine sent me a message. She loves everything about the customer for life. She says, I send all my business to Home Point, so she's very excited about that. So I just wanted to throw that in.
Nice.
So if I had a sister, I'd thank her, but I don't.
So I agree with you on this one, Willie, because I totally, the last thing I would ever want, especially when it comes to a mortgage transaction, we've been talking about this, is one of the biggest financial decisions you ever make in your life. And you don't want some random person calling you up out of the blue saying, oh, well, hey, Willie, got all the information, we're ready to go, let's run a quote, we're good to go. And it's just like, well, wait a minute. Right. Number one, well, why do you have all my information? You've got everything on me. I totally agree. I think it comes down to the relationship. Now, is technology playing a piece of that? Like, there's great companies like yourself and some other people within the mortgage realm. I mean, you got to know some mortgage. I'm talking about a competitor. But what's great, and we'll maybe get into this in a second, is the technology plays a piece, but the relationship, when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, I don't think there's any way to replace it.
No, I agree with that. And again, that's, when we decided to establish customers for life in the way we did, which we think is very unique, we understood and believe that the best way to develop a relationship with the consumer is leveraging their third-party partners, not trying to develop some, independent relationship where, we try to debate and decide which one does the customer like better. We felt like that personal relationship started with our third-party partner, and it should continue with a third-party partner involved. But there's so much that we can bring to the table from a scale, from a data aggregation, trusted data aggregation standpoint, and from a learning perspective, that putting it all together made a lot more sense to us than trying to independently develop a relationship with the consumer, or we got the third-party partner in the process.
So right along with that, I want to get your thoughts on this, because the industry is changing. There's a lot of noise in our industry right now, and consumers are getting more savvy. They're absolutely getting more savvy to these things in particular. What, in your opinion, where should originators really be focusing? I mean, right now interest rates are, at all-time lows. Some are predicting they're going to be going even lower. But where should loan officers, where should originators, where should they be focusing efforts right now?
Oh gosh, I don't know if I presume to prescribe that. I think, let's see, how do I put this? I think what's worked well in the past, take the best of what's worked well in the past, which, to your point, is with the relationships you have, the customers you've worked with in the past, and try to leverage both of those elements as much as possible. But also listen to your pick the right third-party partner or lender partner. We would hope it's Home Point, but whatever combination that is, and use the best of what they have too, and leverage what they have. So I think it's maybe it's not as much focus on any individual transaction. Obviously, every transaction is important, but understand what that means from a long-term perspective, and what relationships can come from that and can evolve from that.
I think that's powerful. I know kind of in a roundabout way where you're going with it, but I truly think that's something that's being overlooked. And I think so many people, because there are so many, like I call them shiny objects out there right now, we get lost and we get confused in all the noise. And there's this new CRM, there's this new tool, and there's this and this. And really what you're referring to is going back to the simplicity of it. Like it goes back to staying top of mind, staying in front of people, and and making sure your clients, they trust you. What is your brand? We talk about, Jason and I talk about this all the time. What is your brand at the end of the day? Your brand is what people are saying about you when you're not there. And that's right. Having partners like HomePoint and the Customers for Life, where you do stay top of mind and you are constantly in front of your borrowers. So when they do go to make that other transaction in 5 to 7 years, you're there for them. I think we're missing the long-term game. We're playing this short game right now because rates are so good and the market's hot and everybody's playing this transaction game and just trying to run them out the door as fast as possible. But we forget about that 5 to 7 years where they're going to be coming back. And if we did our job really well and we stayed in contact, it's just going to be that constant repeat business. We see that LO roller coaster too often in our business, and it's because they're playing a short game.
I would agree with that. And, to be honest, there are lenders who play a short game as well. So, yeah, sure. We're certainly, none of us are immune to it. I'd say, so I think the way I like to I've evolved to present it this way, which is basically we're an industry that has we have high acquisition costs. We have low retention rates. We service an infrequent transaction where there's influencers in the middle of it. And it's hard to predict the transaction. So, absent refinance, this is, it's specifically on the purchase side. So you put all those factors together and it's really why you see, if you go back, since I'm the guy that's been around since the 80s, you go back to 80s, 90s, 2000s, and, and then this decade as well. The companies that were the leaders in the business have changed every decade.
Yeah.
And you think about other financial services like insurance, Progressive's been around for a long time. State Farm's been around for a long time. Geico's been around for a long time. They might not have been as powerful or as high up on the league tables as they are now. We look at the mortgage business, and if you look at non or independent mortgage banks, no one's the same.
Yeah, and I think that's okay. I think everybody, and that's why I liked what you were speaking to earlier, is HomePoint has found that niche, that unique, where not a lot of people are going after that right now. And I think that's what we're going to see more and more lenders of really going into that niche space, that unique, and not just products in itself, but being unique in the way of coming back and again partnering with those with originators in a way that is truly valuable to them. Because I think that's, again, going back to what I was saying earlier, it's a long-term play. If you're playing this short game, you're ultimately going to lose. And clearly, HomePoint has a long-term vision in mind.
No question. It's exactly right. You put it very well. It's a long game. And really at the end of the day, what we're trying to help our third-party partners do is develop franchise value, not just transactional, every month you open a doors and you start at zero. It's that if you can gain customers for life and you can partner with, folks like us that help you do that, you've really created franchise value. And again, using insurance as a proxy, insurance agents, when they sell their business, they don't close their business, they sell their business. And if you as a mortgage broker, as an example, you start to create customers for life. You start to create a franchise, not just a transaction agent.
Willie, that's sick. Like, I don't think anybody's talking about it. That's really cool, man. Like, I don't think I've ever heard anybody talk about that. I don't think it's something being discussed, is that franchise opportunity, because you're absolutely right. Like, you look at insurance agents, they sell their book of business after they're done.
Yeah,
and that's not like the mortgage space. That's not happening. And it's because we don't have that mentality. So I love that you bring that up. And again, that just shows one more way that having leaders like yourself and your entire, you've got a very impressive, you look at a lot of companies, but you look at the people that you're surrounding yourself with, and I talk about this a lot, is companies who are really hiring incredible talent. Phil Shoemaker, Will Pendleton, Gary Brownell, and so many others on your guys' team. Like, you guys have a very powerful team right now. Speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, thanks. So, it's taken a while to put together, but I feel like that's one of the biggest roles that I have. It may be the biggest. I guess it's really more of a combination. Ultimately, I look at my accountabilities in the organization, and right at the top of the list is culture. And to me, culture starts with your leadership and the tone that I set as a leader and the tone that our executives set as leaders. And so, I've spent a lot of time the last 5, we're about 4.5 years old. So I've spent a lot of time the last 5 years, building, making some, having good people that didn't fit for various reasons, but cycling through, but out there trying to find the very best people, and not just it's not just talent. Obviously, talent matters, intellect matters, but it's really do they fit our mindset, our philosophy, that long game, and the culture that the We Care culture that we've established here. So I appreciate you recognizing it, and it really is a wonderful team. The folks you talked about are kind of front of the house, but we have all kinds of great people that are a little bit more behind the scenes. Brian Bazard, our COO, Maria Fagosi, our CFO. I mean, Brian did business with me. Again, I'm dating us, but in the 90s, he owned an independent mortgage bank. Wow. Maria started up our capital markets unit at ABN AMRO in the early 2000s. So, I mean, these people are very accomplished. I'm humbled to have them work with us. But again, it's a combination of them understanding and fitting into and being able to contribute to the organization, but also fitting into the culture and being good leaders.
And you know what? I think culture is one of those things that it's something that's talked about, and I don't want to say it's cliche at all, but truly, we've had the opportunity to attend and to be part of lots of different cultures throughout the industry. And those are the companies we really see dominating right now. The cultures of different companies, leaders like yourself who see the value of culture and that it does need to be focused on. There's great talent out there. There's incredible talent, but talent doesn't always win the championship. So it's the culture that we're seeing within these companies like HomePoint that truly are taking them to new heights, to new places in the industry. So applaud you, because I agree. That's probably one of the more difficult things that you have to do is to be able to continually find those people who fit the culture for HomePoint. So very well.
Yeah, it is. I mean, if you think about how we've been assembled through, primarily through acquisition until the last year where it's been more organic. But and to be honest, that's been a new experience for me. I was fortunate enough in my past two builds to be able to grow primarily organically. And so I like to say, that 6 degrees of separation, when you grow organically, at least at the beginning, it's really usually have folks that are like 1 degree of separation. You either know them or you know somebody that knows them. Maybe that's two. But when you acquire companies, you may not know anybody. And so you have to, fairly quickly determine who's going to embrace what we're trying to accomplish strategically, vision strategically, and then culturally. And it takes a while. So it's been a new experience for me. And I'm glad you're seeing the fruits of the labor, because I do think now we've really got a tight, integrated team that that compete effectively against anybody.
No, I agree with that. When it comes to competing, I think you have put together an all-star team that, like I said, is going to continue to do innovative things. You guys are looking forward to the future. You're looking to of course, the lifeblood of your business, which is the originator. I think so.
Right.
Sometimes lenders, they miss that mark, and consumers are ultimately the end goal. But for lenders who are building a business, it's really building that, working with those third-party originators who are bringing the business. So you guys are doing it awesome. And like I said, your team has done such an incredible job with it. We know we've enjoyed working. And as one of our partners here at Shred, you guys are doing one of the reasons we partnered with you guys in particular is because of the incredible people that you are. Like you said, it goes down to relationships. It goes down to what cultures truly resonate with us. And HomePoint is absolutely exuding so much, not only confidence, but where the industry is going. So it's exciting to me. And I know we're excited to continue to see all that HomePoint Financial and you guys are going to do in the future.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's great to partner with Shred as well. I frankly didn't know a lot about Shred until I met you, and then working with Phil, Phil Shoemaker, he speaks very highly of both of you and the Shred organization. So we love the partnership. And like I said, I might be saying it too often, but I'm kind of the old guy in this business now, and keeping up with you young bloods is maybe it's keeping me young too.
That we're doing our best to, but here's what we truly need. And I've said this a couple times, and it's your experience. We need more collaboration between some of the younger blood in our industry. There's not a lot of young blood coming in, but the guys like yourself who are willing to share, are willing to collaborate. There needs to be more of it, because the younger generation, these younger people coming in, they have to be the masters of their craft. And it's gentlemen like yourself who know it so well inside and out that through collaboration, the new and the old, that is really those are the companies, those relationships, those partnerships are going to be what truly dominate the industry. So we're very grateful for it. We're looking forward to all that we have in store with you guys. And the future is bright on all aspects of it. So we're excited.
Love it. Well, I'm more than willing to, work with, all ages. I live in Ann Arbor for a reason.
Yeah.
Interacting, with the kids up here at U of M, it keeps you young. Yeah, it keeps you vibrant. And to our earlier discussion, I look at it as a learning experience every day. All ages. I have 3 young daughters, and young. The youngest is going to college. So, but I learn from them every day, and it also keeps me patient. So, hopefully I have what it takes. But like I said, I can learn just as much from you and others as hopefully you can from me.
And that truly is a leader that shows your humility. It shows that you're willing to continue to better yourself every single day. And I think that's what Shred embodies. So with that, we're going to end on that, guys. We are so grateful for the opportunity that you've had to hang out with us. And I'm sure that you got a wealth of knowledge today, but if you haven't checked out Home Point, you absolutely need to, because they're doing clearly innovative things, and they're doing it for us, for originators, for us to continue to get better, to reach our customers in ways that we've never been able to do before. So Willie, thanks so much for hanging out with us this afternoon. We appreciate it.
Thank you, gentlemen. Take care.
As always, and we'll always keep talking about, you got to show up, you got to hustle
And repeat every day.
See you guys. Have an awesome day.
Take care.